All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Watkins Glen. David Anderson here, getting ready to do the season finale of our iRacing Team Endurance Series, Porsche Cup support series, which is a mouthful there, but super excited to have done this season. This is round 8 of the 2023 season, and the second season for the Porsche Cup support series for our wonderful league and community here at CMS, and we have had a tremendous time doing these races this year, and it's going to be just a blast to do the finale here. I can't think of a better track than Watkins Glen, and the cars are out qualifying. Blake Reynolds is who we are on with now, riding around with here, and Blake was the winner last week at Road America, so we'll see if he can go for 2 wins in a row. Blake is not a championship contender, but he does have an outside shot of getting on the podium for the season standings, which is significant because we've got some really great prizes for those that finish on the podium, and I'll kind of go over the standings here as well in a minute. But Blake had his first win of the season at Watkins Glen, at Road America last week, and will be interesting to see if he can get a double here at Watkins Glen. Track is it's early in the morning here at Watkins Glen, about 9 o'clock, I believe, local time, and so you can still kind of see the sun kind of not fully high yet on the sky, and track should be in really good shape for the race. So it'll be interesting to see how these cars do, and we'll get right on board here with Blake and have him. Looks like he's on an out lap, maybe his first time lap right now, and get him to take us around for a ride at Watkins Glen. I believe this is his first timed lap. And to the top of the leaderboard with a 147.140 for Blake. So that is our provisional pole sitter. Michael Parker has just completed a lap. And so here we see Blake as he's kind of going through his second lap now. Let's go to Michael Parker. Michael Parker, the championship leader in the series. Michael with a 147.732. So that's about 0.6 slower than what Blake Reynolds was able to run, but we'll see if Michael's able to have anything to say about it here on this second lap, and he's on that lap now, so we'll ride along with him. Looks like he was purple, going through at least the first sector. Tom Lothers currently in third, David Nelson fourth, Chad Dick in fifth. Tricky back section to the track here that we're going to watch Michael navigate through. See what kind of grip he has here on this left-hander. Oh, he definitely got really loose there. I don't know if that's going to hurt his lap. You could see him working the wheel back and forth, really pushing. Terrific track out, using all the track there. His second lap is going to be a 147.394, which was faster, but Blake Reynolds turned a 146.8, so that is just absolutely flying for Blake Reynolds, and I believe Blake will probably be the pole sitter. Let's see if there's anyone else out on track. Looks like everybody's kind of wrapping up their laps now. This is Chad Dick coming to a finish. Here's James Andrew wrapping up his lap as well. So yeah, that's going to be the qualifying. And so to run down the quick order here, everybody gets just 2 laps, so the qualifying goes by quickly. We'll have Blake Reynolds on the pole, Michael Parker in second position to start this race. Michael, the championship leader. Tom Lothar, who I believe is a new name. I hope I've got the name right, Tom. In third position. Shane, and so that looks like this may be Tom's first race with us. Shane Hunter in fourth, David Nelson in fifth. We have Chad Dick in sixth, and we do actually have a car still out on track, and it's Miguel Colon, so we're going to ride along with Miguel here as he tries to get his lap in. While we do that, Edward Nelson 7th, Joe Stifel 8th, Brian Sabelski 9th, Tristan Martz 10th, James Andrew 11th, Brian Sohn 12th, and Miguel Colon is the final car out driving right now without a lap. So we'll see if Miguel can get a lap in here, and we will ride along with him as well, the same way we did with the other guys. We'll get in on his roll bar camera here. Miguel jumps all the way up to P3 with a 147.429, and he does have a second time lap here. We're going to stick with him and ride along. Miguel, the champion from last season in this series. He was the support series champion. JT Tammy was the overall combined champion for the North American Series as well as the Support Series combined points. But Miguel has had kind of an up and down season this time. It looks like he may have picked up an incident here. And so, yeah, he's going to give up on this qualifying run. So we'll go ahead and go back away. It looks like David Nelson may still be out on track as well. So let's see what David Nelson's able to do. Like he is still on a timed lap, so David was a late qualifier. Lost David there for a second. I got him back now. He's currently in sixth position. David has had some qualifying runs, especially the last 2 or 3 races here, that have been really, really strong, but then he's not been able to put it together in the race. Just kind of has had varying issues during when the race would come up, and so I'd like to see him be able to kind of put it all together. He's certainly shown the pace and some elements to run up front in these cars, but hasn't been able to quite sort of be consistent that he needs. And David going to come across the line. No better that lap for him, so he'll remain in sixth position with the 147.864 for his lap time. So the guys now will have be gridding up here and getting ready to go, and we will get ready to cover it as they start to count down. Let's see if we can't get on the grid a little bit and see some of these guys as they start to line up. We'll start taking a look at all the cars coming out, which is just kind of a terrific view I've got here for us to enjoy, and take a look at the cars getting on the line for the grid. Let me go ahead and give you all, if you're just tuned in, an update on the championship. There is a lot at stake. We have quite a few prizes to give away here. We're going to have a prize package from Penguin RC that's valued at $180. There will be a first place prize of $100 of credit towards their store. Second place will receive $50. Third place will receive $30. There will also be a payout from Champion Motorsports of $50 of iRacing gift card credit or cash to the champion, $30 for second place, $20 for third place as well. And then we will also put together a trophy for the series for the winner and ship that to them for the overall champion in the series. So coming into today, we've got a championship battle of Michael Parker, Tristan Martz, Brian Sabelski. Those are our guys in the points positions right now. Blake Reynolds, Joe Stifel, James Andrew on the outside looking in. Those are the guys that have a shot to get into the podium. It is going to be hard for them as the cars begin to roll away here. It's going to be really hard, I think, for those guys to get into the podium. They really need Sabelski and Martz to have a tough race. And interestingly enough, Sabelski and Martz have qualified kind of at the back here. They're in 10th and 11th position, so that does open the door. You know, if Blake Reynolds or someone could go out and win the race, he could sneak his way onto that final podium spot. There's the opportunity for Joe Stifel to do it as well. But the positions between the top three, Sabelski, Martz, and Parker are pretty solid. If anything, Sabelski and Martz have a battle going on for who's going to finish second and who's going to finish third. So those are some of the things that I'll be kind of paying attention to as we do the race here today. And hope you guys all really enjoy watching this one. It's been a really great series. And want to thank our sponsor, Penguin RC, and also just remind everyone that we're always looking for new people to run with us here at CMS. We'll bring this series back in 2024. It runs annually, kind of from the springtime through summer. And we will have it back next year is the plan. And we'll enjoy a break until then. But hope to have Penguin RC back. Hope to, of course, have it affiliated with our iRacing Team Endurance Series, who you see on the bottom left of the broadcast, and with the logo there for the Endurance Series that we run, which will also be at this same track next weekend as we wrap up that series as well. So kind of an exciting week here, an exciting time at CMS. Bringing these two series to a close. All right, getting ready to go green here. It'll be interesting to see if Blake Reynolds can hold off Michael Parker, Miguel Colon. The red car, Tom Lothar, I believe this is his first race I mentioned earlier, and I'm just double checking that. He is in 4th position and definitely the wild card because he's the driver we don't know anything about or have any data on. So that'll be interesting. All right, pace car's about to peel off here, and we are about to get going. And we are green. Good jump for Blake Reynolds. Good jump for Michael Parker as well. Miguel Colon a little bit ahead of Tom Lothar, going down into 1. Looks like Reynolds will have the preferred position, and he will sneak into the lead. Battle for second. Miguel Colon going after Michael Parker. He is on the inside of him. I think he's going to clear him, and he's all over Blake Reynolds coming up through the S's. So unfortunately for Michael Parker, our championship leader, and he's already under pressure from Tom Lothar as well. So Michael with not the best start. But also Michael is the driver with the most to lose here. You know, you don't want to have a DNF if you're him. You've already got the championship pretty much wrapped up. All you need to do is get out here and finish this race. Miguel Colon goes to the lead and powers past Blake Reynolds. And so from third position all the way to first for Miguel Colon. Terrific start for him. Clean start all the way through the field. Colon now building a little bit of a gap. Got about 5/6 second lead now already over Blake Reynolds. Reynolds now kind of starting to feel the pressure from Parker again. Tom Lothar all over them. Let's ride along with Tom Lothar. He's got a great view of this. Let's just kind of see what he's seeing. It's Michael Parker just ahead of him. Miguel Colon leads lap 1. Blake Reynolds in second. Michael Parker third. Tom Lothar fourth. Shane Reynolds is in fifth, so you can see the view here that Lothar has of kind of what's happening ahead of him, and you can really see Miguel Colon is starting to stretch this thing out. You know, Miguel has had like I said, kind of an up and down season, finds himself in 12th position in the points, has not had a win all year, and so we know he's going to be super motivated to get a win and finish the season to show, you know, everybody that, you know, he's okay. Which I think we know he's okay anyway, but he's just kind of had a inconsistent season. Definitely off to a good start here. A single file through the top 5 or 6. It looks like we've got a little bit of a race going back here. This is Shane Hunter and Chad Dick. And that's Shane Hunter kind of edging out Chad Dick here. And this is for 5th position. So Shane currently in 5th. Watch them come around. Dick really sticking to Hunter here. Here comes the entire field down the front stretch. Kind of spread out, but some good races going on in several places here. Nice panoramic view we have here. You can see Miguel Colon out front. Good battles kind of all throughout the field. Coming up through the S's, we've got a great view of him here. Kind of riding around with him on our helicopter shot here. And they're kind of getting side by side, back a little further. Here's David Nelson trying to get around Joe Stifel. Just behind him is Tristan Martz. So let's check in on Tristan Martz here real quickly. So this is Tristan in the blue car. He is currently the second man in the points, but has found himself here in the back of this field today. That's Edward Nelson behind him. Also back here in the back is Brian Sabelski, who is the third man in the points. So both of these drivers have had terrific seasons and great racing, as well as some really strong podium-type finishes, including a win for Tristan Martz, who we see just in a heck of a battle here with, that's Joe Stifel, David Nelson, Edward Nelson behind him. He's the blue car. But both of them are really having to fight for everything they can get here in these last couple of races. The field has really picked it up. The competition has gotten tight, and really everybody is really, really strong in this race. Here's James Andrew in the back of the field right now, kind of bringing up the rear today. This is surprising because James has been one of the stronger racers the last 3 races. He's been running up front consistently with top 5s and looking really, really good, but finds himself struggling here this morning at Watkins Glen. Don't see anything wrong with the car, but James not having the race he wants to. So anyhow, let's check in back up front. There's Cologne, Reynolds, Parker, Lothar. Here they come again. Some great speed shots here. Terrific action. Miguel Colon looking really, really good right now. Had that 3rd place qualifying, but he has jumped out to the lead and just looks extremely focused. About 22 minutes left in the race. Last time by, they were pretty equal, the top 5 or 6 cars, lap time-wise. Cologne with a 47.389, Reynolds with a 47.8, Parker with a 47.4. Cologne is definitely stretching it a little bit, though, here. Let's ride along with him. Now, dare I say, we could see someone like Blake Reynolds trying to save fuel. These cars have just enough fuel. It's a fixed setup that we run, the baseline setup in iRacing, and they're kind of loaded up with just enough fuel to make these races. Sometimes it's a little tight, especially at tracks like Le Mans and other places. So, and last week when we interviewed Blake Reynolds, he said that he was kind of riding behind Michael Parker almost intentionally, and to get the benefits of the draft and some of the fuel savings. So could that be happening today? It's hard to say. I think it is more likely that Cologne just shot out of a cannon and kind of came to this race a man on a mission. Looks like we've had an issue with Joe Stifle. Oh, Joe into the wall and around. Just tight racing. Some damage on the rear of that car, you see. Seems to be going again now. But that's going to move Joe back to the back, and that's certainly not going to help him in his bid to be that driver to kind of jump up to the podium, to that last podium spot. And he needed, you know, came into the race 23 points behind Sabelski, which would have been a stretch. He really almost would have needed Sabelski to have a DNF or something. Sabelski currently running in 10th right now. But the way the points work is, it pays a decent amount to the winner. And I was going to try to get a example of that. So the winner will get 35 points. Then 32, 30, 28, 26, 25, 24, all the way down to, however many we have running. So, there could be a 15, 20 point spread from, first to last. But it's fairly tight points-wise between positions. And I think to move into the final podium spot, Blake Reynolds, who will get on board here with Blake and ride with him a little bit as he chases, he's got his windshield wipers on, chasing Michael Parker. But Blake would probably need to win this race to get the 35 points, and then he would need Sabelski and Martz to finish no higher than they are now in that 9th, 10th spot to have a shot to move into the podium. By the way, I failed to call this, but Michael Parker got around Blake Reynolds. And looks like Brian Sohn has had an issue. Let's see what's going on with Brian. See the car wiggle there a little bit. Just comes around on him. Oh, and backs it into the wall and then kind of a tank slapper around. So Sohn, the second driver to have an issue. Blake Reynolds now giving chase to Parker. Parker got around him. It looks like Blake's going to try to make a move. And he will go. He will take it back into the chicane. Parker gave it to him. So a little bit of position swapping between these two. And all that is doing is allowing Miguel Colon to get out even further ahead. So you can see Miguel out front as we ride around with our drone cam here. But yeah, all this is doing is letting him get out further ahead. Go back a little further to Tom Lothar. This is a really good view because you can kind of see kind of where they are exactly. And we've got another good shot here where we can kind of pan out and see kind of the whole field. You can see that Shane Hunter and Chad Dick just behind Tom. The leaders out ahead. All right, we're coming up to about halfway. Let's do a quick field rundown here and check in on everybody. We'll go through the entire field. Here's Brian Sohn. We talked about him just a minute ago. Brian had some issues. You can see the damage on the rear end of his car. Kind of a hard tank slapper. Brian looking good, looking really good in the Penguin RC car, but not kind of having the race he wanted to have for certain. Joe Steifel, also the other driver who we saw with an issue. He is in 12th position right now. 11th position just ahead is James Andrew. James is definitely struggling today. Car's clean, but he just has not had the pace that he's shown in these last 3 or 4 races. And the same would go for Brian Sabelski. This is Brian. He's in 10th position, so even though he's in the top 10, he certainly just does not have the pace that he typically has in the race today. So just trying to hang on. And I believe he'll be able to do that with this finish. Unless Reynolds wins the race,
I think that was netcode, David.
Kind of take a look into that. And we're hearing the guys talk a little bit, so I need to try to fix that if I can. All right, sorry about that. We got that fixed here. We don't like to listen to the guys talk necessarily. We do like to listen to them talk, but we don't necessarily want to do that without their permission, so I had to get that fixed for us real quick. But yeah, back to Brian Sabelski. Kind of just, I'll see if I can't figure out where he needs to finish to stay ahead of Blake Reynolds. Just ahead of him, Tristan Martz. So Tristan Martz also in the second position in the points. Tristan was the winner earlier this year. Probably our most dramatic finish and exciting race at Le Mans. And it looks like Blake Reynolds has taken the lead over Miguel Colon. So I've got to go right back up front here. Let's just rewind this because it happened in real time here. So Blake Reynolds, here they go through turn one. He's going to get a really, really good... Miguel got really wide. That's the issue. And Blake pounced on him. So that is a change for the lead. Michael Parker has fallen back of these two. Wow, they are battling now. So we'll come back to the field rundown in just a second, but had to go straight up front here because this is a battle for the lead that we did not want to miss. I want to bring to you in real time, and it is intense right now. This is Colon giving chase to Reynolds, and you could tell Colon is not happy that he was wide in turn one and opened the door for Reynolds. Of course, Reynolds did his part. He got in there and took advantage of it. We're going to see if Colon can kind of make the move and repay the favor. So if Blake were to win the race, he would get 35 points. I think he needs to win the race, and that would be 14 points higher than 10th place, which is where Brian Sabelski stands right now. Okay, so is 14 points enough? It's not quite enough. Right now, Sabelski holds an 18-point lead over Reynolds. And Colon's going back around Reynolds, so this does not help Reynolds. Wow, what a battle here for the lead in this race. They're side by side. Who is going to give? Looks like Colon's going to have the position down here into the right-hander. Reynolds just does not want to give it up, but he has to. Oh, and Colon is around. Miguel Colon has crashed. Oh. Miguel Colon has crashed so fast. He was the guy to beat here in this race, but now he has picked up some damage. Let's go back and watch that. Here it is. And he just was pushing and kind of a weird off-camber sort of area of the track there. Able to continue, but he certainly has eliminated his chances to win the race. And so now this thing is going to be between Michael Parker and Blake Reynolds. And looks like Parker's starting to reel in Reynolds again. Gap is only 0.6. Let's get on board with Parker and watch him chase Reynolds around. Anyhow, Reynolds definitely needs to win the race, and he needs, I believe he needs Brian Sabelski to finish in about 12th position, because that's 18. Right now he's got an 18-point lead. Yeah, he may even need him to finish lower than that. So I don't see that happening. I think Brian will hold on to this thing, even if he finishes no better than kind of where he is now in 10th position. This is Parker given a good run here. We know one thing for certain with Michael Parker. You know, he has been the dominant force in this series this year with 4 wins and leading the points, and he would love nothing more than to win this finale at Watkins Glen and show that he got around Blake Reynolds and Miguel Colon to do it. They are close. I believe Parker is a little quicker than Blake right now. All right, I'm going to quickly go back through the field, and I will come right back to this if anything happens. So we talked about Brian Sabelski, 10th position. This is where Brian is now. I don't think this is going to hurt him to be here. Of course, he's disappointed with this finish, I'm sure, if this is where it stands. But it should be enough for him to secure his 3rd spot on the podium, which is a prize-paying position for the season. So phenomenal season for Brian. He's made every race and has driven well and has done really. Oh, it looks like Blake Reynolds has had a problem. Every time I go away from it. Oh no, Blake Reynolds hard into the wall. What happened? What in the world happened? He had to tow to the pits. I want to watch this in real time. Almost like a mechanical failure. That's a devastating crash for Blake Reynolds. And he is in the pits, and guess what? We've got a new leader, and it is Michael Parker going for his 5th win in the series. And he now has a 5-second lead over Tom Lothar, so Michael can pretty much cruise to victory here at Watkins Glen. And, you know, it's interesting. We saw at the beginning of this race, Michael Parker, you know, was 2nd place on the grid. He fell back to 3rd. Colon went around him. Reynolds was around him. And, you know, and really those 2 guys, you know, Colon wanted a win here. He needed a win, you know, by his standards. And to just kind of show, you know, that he was still the defending series champion. And then, of course, Reynolds needed a win. You know, he needed to win, and he needed Sabelski to have a tough race, which, you know, there was a shot at that with where Brian was, and Blake just pushing too hard. Both of those guys pushing too hard. Whereas this man, you know, that's the benefit of winning 4 races, coming in with the lead, not having anything to worry about. You know, all he had to do was just kind of be here today to lock up the championship and not finish, you know, last place or something. Frankly, I think he probably could have finished in last place and still had enough of a gap to win this thing. But, no pressure was on him, right? And so he could kind of ride behind those guys, let it kind of sort out, be what it was going to be. And he did just that. So, okay, I'm going to go back through the field one more time. I'm going to try this. So, we've got a pretty good little race here developing now between our two guys in the... Oh, we got a car off in turn one. Who is that off in turn one? That looks like Ed Nelson and David Nelson. Let's watch this here. Oh, David. Oh, they both wreck into one. Let's watch this from David Nelson's view. Oh, he just a brake lock up and he shoots them both off. That was just a hard racing and a mistake, just kind of a racing issue. That's going to cover them. And while this has been happening, these two guys, these are the guys that, have kind of been a picture of consistency. They're having a good race between the two of them now for bragging rights. But this is Tristan Martz leading Brian Sabelski. They've moved up to 6th and 7th spot, so they are, went from kind of in the back of the field struggling to all of a sudden they're up in 6th and 7th spot battling each other. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on this particular positional battle because it's fairly significant just in bragging rights category. I don't think it's going to have an outcome on the championship in any way of where they will finish. This will end up being your second and third man as they're shown on the track in the standings. So both of these guys will be on the podium steps along with Michael Parker, which is really, really nice for them. But it'll be interesting to see. I know Sabelski would love nothing more to get around Martz to kind of finish this thing. All right, we'll go up a little bit ahead of them. It's been a hell of a race up here as well. I just haven't been able to cover it because there's been so much other action. But look at all this. This is Shane Hunter, Chad Dick, Tom Lothar. These guys are all over each other right now for position. Shane Hunter moving into that 4th position real time here as we speak. Gets around Tom Lothar. Tom drops back to 5th. Oh, and now Tom's going to send it in there. Wow. Folks, we've got a small field here today, only 13 drivers, but we have had one hell of a race. Here's Chad Dick. He's a little bit ahead of these two. And then all of a sudden, Miguel Colon, even after the issue that we saw with Miguel, he has been able to claw his way back into 2nd position. So he's not going to win the race because Michael Parker at this point is not going to make a mistake and give this thing up. He can just cruise to a victory at this point. But they are certainly having some battles all over the other place. Let's check back in with Sabelski and Martz. Before we get to the white flag. Parker's probably going to get the white flag next time by, so we'll start to call all these guys in. But this is a heck of a battle here for 6th and 7th position. Can Sabelski get up there and get around him? Here they come. They're taking the white flag. Parker is on the white flag now. So what I'm going to do... There's Parker. Here's Colon. Here's Chad Dick in 3rd. Tom Lothar in 4th. Shane Hunter in 5th. Martz and Sabelski. That is our biggest battle on the racetrack right now. Here comes Brian. He's making the look. Can he get around him? He's going to be out of position here on the outside. Martz holds him off. Here's Parker up front. Here's these two. All right, we're going to cover them across the line, so I'll check in on these two as we get a little bit closer. Going back to them in just a second, but before we do that, the man of the hour, the man of the season, the man for the championship, the win and the championship, he is going to be all smiles. Michael Parker takes the win at Watkins Glen. Miguel Colon coming around in second position, battling back after that unfortunate issue he had. Chad Dick in third, Tom Lothar fourth, Shane Hunter fifth. Here they come. This is Martz and Sabelski. One final shot for Sabelski. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Martz will hold him off. Sabelski will finish behind him. Here comes Joe Stifel. James Andrew and David Nelson having a big battle here at the end. Looks like Nelson's going to lose that position to Andrew. Nice. James Andrew with picking up a position and kind of finishing the race strong. David Nelson in 10th. And then we had 3 cars with DNFs, unfortunately. So Michael Parker is your winner here at Watkins Glen. He is also your season champion with his 5th win of the series. A huge congratulations to him. Tristan Martz finishes second in the championship. Holds off Brian Sabelski for the position in the race as well, and Brian Sabelski will be your third man in the championship. So what a terrific season, a terrific race. We saw one of the better races of the year here with this one today. Wow, what a great race. You know, there was times where Miguel Colon looked like he was going to run away with this thing. Then it looked like Blake Reynolds had it under control. Miguel had issues, but then Blake had issues of his own. Blake ended up with a DNF. And there's Parker. He goes ahead and just retires to go back to the pits, get ready to come for interviews and things of that nature, I'm sure. And I will go ahead and get ready myself to start bringing in some of those guys, and we'll chat it up with some of them. Wow, what a terrific situation. So let me see if I can start by bringing in Brian Sabelski. All right, I'm going to need just a second here. All right. Let me see if I can grab Brian. I'm having a hard time grabbing him. Try it again. Okay, I think I've got it figured out this time. All right, I'm going to bring Brian in. Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, sorry, it took me a minute to get you there. I was having a little bit of technical difficulty. Wow, what a great finish for the race there. And for a little while, you were kind of struggling in the back, but ended up with a great battle with Tristan. Probably needed one more lap to make a move on him. And good news for you, though, is you secured third place in the championship. So congratulations.
Thanks. I kind of knew what the numbers I needed to hit for points were. And I think a big part of that was if I could get by Tristan, it's like I knew I wasn't going to jump him in the standings, and I wasn't going to wreck him, and I didn't want Joe to catch us. So it's like, all right, if I can make the move, I can do it clean, then I'll do it. But if I can't, I'll hold tight because this is good enough as far as positions go. And Tristan just defended really well the last 2 or 3 laps there. He kept it really clean and just defended really well. Tried to cross him over a couple times, once or twice, but it just didn't stick. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes it's just, that's the way it goes, and you just kind of take what you can get.
It did. You had a great season. Were able to make all the events. Had four top fives during the year, and really had some really strong races. I can remember a few of them for you, and one in particular that stood out was I think you did really well at Twin Ring Motegi, and just were super consistent, Brian. And tell me a little bit about kind of the season overall from your perspective, and what you'll take away from it, and those sorts of things.
Well, it's more seat time in this car, which is always good. I don't normally drive this one a whole lot, but I saw the opportunity to run it, and I'm like, the heck with it. We'll do it. Get some experience, see how it all shakes out, and I think overall probably had some interesting adventures here and there. A couple times I probably threw away a little bit better finishes trying to catch back up to people and spin in the car, and just was focused on being as consistent as I could. I was running 149s almost the whole race, and I think that's what got me back into it, was just being able to hit that 149 flat all race long, and people were going 148s early and then falling off the high 149s into the 150s, and just when that happens, that's when you can kind of start to catch those people when they heat their tires up and wear them down a little too much. But yeah, just it was a fun time, good racing all throughout. It's one of those things like, oh man, maybe I could have got second, but at the same time, it's just, well, you do what you can, and you do the best you can in every race, and see how it all shakes out.
Right, for sure. Yeah, and I was definitely enjoyed covering you, talking about you today. It was, I was doing a little bit of math in my head, because there was a chance, and for a minute there, I was like, boy, if Blake Reynolds wins this race and Brian finishes in 10th, is Blake gonna figure out a way to get up there on the?
I think,
but he didn't.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to work. He needed a little bit more. So you were safe. You were safe coming into this thing, and you definitely were a picture of consistency throughout the Glen, throughout the whole season, really, and it showed in the results for sure.
That's usually how I do it. I'm not necessarily going to be always like the most up at the front kind of guy all the time. Depends on the car, but it's something where you get what you can, and you do the best you can, and see where you can go from there, and keep trying to work a little bit more and learn a little bit more every week, every race, and do a little bit more here and there, and try not to fall too far off.
Yeah, well, you know what? You've got a little bit of spiffs coming your way. There'll be some store credit from the Penguin RC team, as well as some your choice of either iRacing credit or cash from CMS. So get with us, and we'll get that over to you. And Brian, congrats again on a great season. Thanks for coming out and supporting it and being here, and was really proud of what you accomplished this year. Great job.
Thanks, David, and thanks for hosting it. I'm glad. The only thing I'm going to be glad about, as far as this being over, is that I don't have to wake up at this early on Saturdays anymore, because I'm 2 hours behind everybody else. So it's like, actually, Michael's he's an hour behind me, so he's even earlier.
Yeah, go sleep in now for a few weeks.
Will do.
All right, take care, buddy, and have a good rest of your Sunday.
You too.
All right, let's. That was Brian Sabelski, third man in the points. Let's see if we can get Michael Parker down here. Gonna bring him in and see if we can't interview him and talk to our winner and our champion, Tristan Martz. I am not seeing on the Discord, so I won't be able to bring him in unless he shows up. If he does, of course we will. But let's get Michael in here for a second. Michael.
Hey, David.
Wow. You know what? Tell me, was that intentional? Were you just like, I'm just going to let these two guys, since they've got everything to gain and everything to lose, I'm going to let them get out in front, and I'm just going to let them do what they did, and then I'm going to win this thing that way? Was that all intentional?
No, it actually wasn't. I was trying to get pole, and I had like at least 4 tenths that I blew, and because I got loose off of the exit of third to last corner, the left-hander. So yeah, I was going for pole because I already knew points wise. I think I was pretty much set. So yeah,
Yeah.
this was a race I was just trying to win. And when Miguel snuck his car in the inside and like overtook two of us, I was like, okay, this is going to be tricky getting by both of them. So I was hanging back a little bit, strategy wise, and then they are actually like the pace was a little bit better initially with them, but with practice, I did a full stint yesterday. I knew the car would start pushing more as the fuel came off because it
Mm-hmm.
unloads the front. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can use this to my advantage. Maybe they didn't, know this. So, but yeah, was it Blake was definitely had the pace. I let kind of him get by me that second time he messed up or first time, and yeah, I was just trying to use him as a draft to get back to Miguel, and yeah, their battle kind of put me back in it, and I didn't think anything was going to happen, but once Miguel spun, I was like, okay, well, maybe I can at least just get second, and then I don't know, I was
Right.
trying to pick for Blake, but he ended up self-induced error, and he told me like it was use the prototype braking mark, so
Yeah,
that was
he really had both of them, they were side by side, and Miguel just couldn't make it stick there, and kind of both unforced errors, if you will, on both of their parts, and Miguel was able to battle back to a really phenomenal comeback to second place, but with Blake, his crash was catastrophic. But man, I tell you what, it's all about you. You were there, you put yourself in position, and Michael, that was kind of this was a dominant season for you, and I'd love to just you take me through kind of, take me through it from your perspective, what it meant and what you took away from it, what some of the highlights for you were, of which there were many. Yeah, I'd love to hear from your take on the whole thing.
Yeah, I just was, taking it one race at a time. I knew Daytona, going through pretty much every race, like starting with Daytona, of course. It was the first time I was going to do this series full out. Finally have time to do it. So, yeah, I knew Miguel was kind of the one to beat since he won last year, and I didn't really know too many of the others. Obviously, there's the regulars, the CMS, but
Mm-hmm.
Blake kind of caught me off guard. That first race, and I'm like, okay, this is a guy I need to watch out for. And yeah, it the first race kind of set the tone, and I was like, okay, I got to win. I'm ahead. I just need to keep it consistent, and yeah, after that, Laguna, DJ kind of caught me off guard with that one, and just didn't have the pace there, but I got second, so I was still going. And then yeah, Fuji and was a great one for me. That was probably one of my favorite races.
Mm-hmm.
With Blake there at the end, like just holding him off. That was probably one of the best races this season for me.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Yeah, and then Lamar kind of messed me up because I got that slowdown that just like the iRacing penalty slowdowns take 45 seconds, so it just went downhill from there. So
Well, you
um,
you battled back, and I was looking at some of the stats. You ended up kind of breaking the record. This is just the second season of these, but we absolutely will plan to bring it back in 2024. But last year, Miguel won 4 out of 6 races, which was pretty dominant, and you today with the win eclipsed him. You won 5 out of 8 races, so 5 wins in 1 year with this group is no small feat. And I mean, you really, really had some great races, and I know it had to feel good to kind of, end with another win,
yeah.
to just kind of put the icing on top of the cake, right?
Oh yeah, no, that I was like I said, I didn't have anything to lose in this race, but Miguel and Blake brought their A game, so I'm like, okay, all right, it's on. I just try to keep it close, and I'm kind of happy. I was, at least I don't think I actually pressured Blake into a mistake, but I mean, I'm sure it was in the back of his head, so I'm hoping that I was competitive enough for the first little bit, and then it was definitely great to end on a win though.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've got some things coming your way. We'll have a trophy coming your way. We'll get that all printed up, if you will, with your name on it and everything, and that'll come your direction, as well as, believe, $100 worth of store credit coming your way from the Penguin RC team, and then some cash or iRacing credit, or however you would like it, coming from CMS. So get with us on that stuff, Michael. Enjoy the Sunday. Enjoy the championship, and we're really, really proud of you. Anybody you want to thank or anything else you want to say to put a wrap on this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just want to shout out, the competitors in this series: Miguel, Blake, Tristan, Brian, Shane, Chad, all these guys. Really competitive all season and stuck with it. So yeah, shout out to all of them. And yeah, thanks to Champion Motorsports for putting this on, IRTES series, feeders, for this being the feeder series, and of course the Penguin RC simulation. I checked out some of their gear on their website, and it looks pretty good. So
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, and hopefully you can use some of that money from them to apply towards something really cool for your rig. And super proud of you, Michael. You kind of embody everything that we care about here, and I can't think of a better champion. And of course, you're a dear friend of mine personally, and I'm just really, really happy for all that you're doing with our community. And can't think of a more fitting champion for the series. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, David, and of course everything back to you. It's been great knowing you, and then yeah, finding and joining this league finally, and it's definitely a perfect match. So yeah, I'm happy to contribute where I can, and keep it going as far as we'll let us.
Sounds good. Well, man, go take your wife to lunch or something today and celebrate a little bit. Order yourself a cold beer or something.
Oh, 100%. That is exactly what we're doing.
All right. Have a good afternoon, Michael, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right. That is Michael Parker, our champion for the series, and I will kind of unofficially give you where I think the standings were going to end up. So Michael will be, of course, our champion. Tristan Martz in second. Brian Sabelski in third. Those will be our prize winners. I believe it should probably stay. I actually think Joe Stifle will end up fourth in the points, and he will have passed Blake Reynolds. So congratulations to Joe. Blake is going to drop down with his DNF today. He could actually get passed by a few guys because they were really tight. So we'll have to get the final standings out. But James Andrew came on strong at the end of the year. Edward Nelson had a good season. So some shout out to some guys. And again, you saw here Michael Parker eclipsing Miguel Colon's record of 4 wins last season with 5 this season out of 8 races. A dominant performance for him. Super excited for him as our champion. Congrats to all the competitors that were here for this series. And also a huge shout out to our sponsor, Penguin RC Simulation. We would not have been able to do this without Brian and his team. They did a great job for us, and just couldn't be happier to have them involved in everything with CMS and their tremendous support that they bring to the series and to our community. So be sure to check them out. You can look them up. You see their logo here on the broadcast, Penguin RC Simulation Products. Check out cmsracing.com, and we will be back in 2024 with this series again. We will enjoy our champion between now and then, Michael Parker, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll get this posted to YouTube as well, and until the next time, we will see you out on the track. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.